Welcome back. Here's a remarkable story of a ranching family from Kansas. They're not only active in local and national organizations that represent the cattle industry, but one family member has literally gone the distance when it comes to telling consumers about beef. NCBA reporter Brad Bulla has more.
I like being out here. Except for a few days a year, I like being outside. I like having my family around me. I like that we work as a team. I like the environment that we live in. I think it's take your breath away beautiful, but there's also something everywhere that you look. It's clean, it's open, it's a panorama that you just don't duplicate anyplace else, and it's my office.
Barb Downey and Joe Carpenter met as students at Kansas State University. They married after college, around the time that Barb and her father were starting up a small operation. And now, with their daughters, they run the Downey Ranch.
We are a cow-calf operation, about 1/3 registered Angus and the rest commercial Angus crossbred cattle. We do have 2 herds. We have a spring calving herd with the registered being all spring calvers, and then we have a fall calving herd also to utilize some resources and bull power and spread things out a little bit.
And what we feel like this helps us do is hit different market targets, both in terms of the end product, our finished cattle. We can hit a very usually historically high cattle market for our fat cattle with those fall calves. The spring calves are tied a little bit better to our resources around here with the spring grasses and the dormant, having the cow's lowest energy demands occur during the winter when the energy supplies are the lowest.
The success of the ranch's commercial operation prompted the family to enter into the registered seed stock business in the early 90s.
We are huge information gatherers. We knew exactly what we wanted in our cattle. We were compiling all sorts of data on our cattle, and it was a small step in terms of what we were doing to go ahead and move into the seed stock business. And since we were a start to finish operation and we're experienced in all segments of the operation or the beef business, we felt like we could bring a very valuable perspective to the seed stock business. And that is, in fact, what we have done. The majority of our customers are cow-calf producers that do sell cattle at weaning. So for them, calving ease and weaning are important traits, and females that will function and turn around and go back into their herd and produce under these tough range conditions are important to them. That is exactly the conditions our seed stock cows operate under, so they're selected for that same sort of pressure.
Barb and Joe are active in both the National Cattlemen's Beef Association and the Kansas Livestock Association.
I'm a county director in KLA, and I think it's incredibly important for everyone to be involved. Everybody in agriculture and especially beef producers, need to be aware of what's going on around us and have someone that is looking out for us. It's impossible for me to go to Topeka, our state capital, and sit in to see what's going on there every day. And we're very fortunate to have some really good people that do that and understand what we want to be made aware of and understand what our needs are.
I also feel our membership in NCBA is extremely important for all those same reasons I'm telling you about, that our state level involvement is important. Going to these meetings, you hear so much going on that's going on in different parts of our country that you have no clue is happening, and the experience of other state associations and individual producers and how they've addressed this and what they know to be the Achilles heel, and you need to watch out for this, and they'll come at you maybe this way, and we had a great deal of success because we did A, B, and C. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel when we're faced with a similar problem.
They also view themselves as cattle industry ambassadors, presenting their unique perspective as ranchers to consumers young and old.
We were at a career day at our local middle school, and we were talking to the kids there and telling them that, or challenging them to name a subject that we don't use on the ranch. And they couldn't come up with one. One said choir, and I said, wrong. We call our cows, maybe not necessarily with a singing voice, but we use everything. We use our math, we use our social skills, science, and animal health, and our education, just get full use of it in this occupation, I guess.
Barb is also an active long-distance runner. She's competed as part of NCBA's Team Beef and has completed 4 marathons, including the Boston Marathon, while using the experience to connect with consumers.
Team Beef is really taking off and really growing. I find when we are out there visiting with fellow athletes that they enjoy hearing about how beneficial beef is to an athlete's diet, to everyone's diet, but especially an athlete, in terms of all of those nutrients, in terms of that protein. There's a large body of evidence that most women athletes do not consume enough protein and iron, and beef is a beautiful and tasty way to get those, and I'm, all for that. So it's been an effective way to develop a common ground with a group of consumers that is really interested in treating their bodies right. And it's a very effective communication tool, or an entree with those consumers to get beef's positive message across. And it's a neutral ground, it's non-threatening to anybody, and it's a great way to just start up a conversation about it when they see your Team Beef shirt, or as you're running by and they say, I'm going to have a steak tonight after the race. I mean, that happened to me I don't know how many times at Boston.
Barb and Joe believe being active and vocal advocates of the cattle industry is one of the best ways to ensure that operations like theirs will continue.
Everyone, no matter how small or big they are, is part of this business and absolutely integral to it. That unless we all stand up, be counted, make our voices heard, figure out where it is that we can make the contribution. Unless we do that all together, there won't be any reason to do it at all if we're not careful.
Reporting from Wamego, Kansas, I'm Brad Bulla for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Barb Downey and Joe Carpenter are members of NCBA. Why don't you join them as well? Just call 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us online at beefusa.org.